Welcome, everyone, to the Michigan Association of Secondary School Principals podcast series, featuring great discussions, insight, and resources on all things related to education and administration. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Season 6 of the MASSP Podcast. My name is Ryan Casey, and I am excited because I am bringing in a co-host to join me now for hopefully the rest of Season 6 and beyond that, if time allows. We have Nina Davis, principal at L'Anse Creuse Middle School East, and our current MASSP president joining me today. Nina, how's it going?
It is going well, Ryan. How are you doing?
I'm doing better now that I've got somebody to make this podcast better with. So I'm excited that you're finding the time between leading school and helping educators across the state and being a wife and a mom at home and contact tracing. And now you want to do podcasting. So you are awesome for being here. And I'm excited to record some sessions, including today. So Nina actually had an idea coming from an MASSP board meeting where we kind of just got to do an old school round robin share of awesome things happening in different buildings across the state. And Nina suggested that we have to talk to the people at Carter Middle School with their kindness initiative that they have going on at their building. And November, correct me if I'm wrong, there's a day in November, it's World Kindness Day, correct, Nina?
That is correct. And Carter Middle School has jumped on this and created a kindness initiative that they're going to not only do as part of World Kindness Day, but try to continue this initiative throughout sometime at Carter. So excited to hear about this and share this with our members.
All righty. And joining us from Carter Middle School, we have the principal, Amy Hendry, and assistant principal, Stacy Airy. So Amy, Stacy, thank you so much for being here. How's it going today?
We're doing all right. Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here and representing MASSP in the Middle School East. Miss Airy and I are super excited to share all of the good things that are going on here at Carter Middle School.
Awesome. So right off the bat, so we hear the buzzword of kindness and kindness initiative. So just right from the get-go, what can you tell us about what you guys are doing at Carter Middle School, which I'll point out is part of Warren Consolidated Schools for listeners curious where you're at?
All right. Well, surprisingly enough, this has been an ongoing initiative here at Carter Middle School. This started back in 2018, right after the Stoneman Douglas High School shootings in Florida. If you recall correctly, the children of today's society wanted to protest and walk out of school. And they wanted to do that for 17 minutes. And as a principal of 759 kids, I was like, absolutely not. We are not walking out in protest. So I got together with my counseling staff and my English language acquisition teacher, and they actually came up with a movement called #ChooseKind. And instead of marching out of school in protest and breaking all of the school and district policies, we decided to make it an earned privilege where students had to perform 17 random acts of kindness, one for every victim lost in the Florida shooting. And they had to have it signed by a parent or a teacher. They wrote an essay related to choosing kind with the situation that was going on in Florida. And they handed in a documentation to our counselors. And believe it or not, we were able to purchase Choose Kind t-shirts. You see me wearing them all the time. If you're my friend or work with me, you know that I have the Choose Kind t-shirt for every day of the week. And it has actually continued since 2018. And this year, this is Mrs. Airy's second year as assistant principal at Carter. And we started talking about World Kind Day. And I'm going to give her just a few minutes to explain how we've grown since 2018.
Yeah, thanks, Amy. So basically, we knew coming in that Carter had chosen kind, and they had started this initiative, as Amy had said. And with so much of kind of the behaviors that were presenting themselves in the beginning of the year, every building across the state of Michigan has been communicating the same types of things that, it was time for Carter to do kind, not just choose kind. And so that's kind of how we transitioned off of choose kind into actually doing kind and spreading that across any level of the building. So we are now hashtag Do Kind, Carter Creates Kindness, and the initiative was for them to spread that information on social media, because we know that those negative behaviors were also something that was being spread on social media, right? TikTok. Let's take TikTok and turn it around into something a little more positive versus, posting some of those negative things. So it took a few minutes to get off the ground, but videos are coming in more and more and more. Monday mornings are great with the coffee, watching those videos. So that's kind of how we transitioned over the last couple of years into creating that Do Kind.
I've gotta say, I'm feeling pretty dejected over here, because when I was a building principal, we had like a kindness club, and we did a random act, singular, one act of kindness, and you guys are doing 17. That is amazing. I've got to imagine you get to see quite the remarkable list from students. So and to connect it back to that event, to have something really great and profound come from such a tragic event, I think that's really remarkable.
So I'm glad, Ryan, you're seeing what I saw when I heard the story, and why I thought, this should be featured for our MASSP members. So ladies, question for you. You kind of talked about why you chose this and where it came from. Can you tell me, how did you get it off the ground? So, specifically for someone else that may want to do something like this in their building, where do you recommend they begin?
Well, first and foremost, you have to open yourself a TikTok account and join as your full name, Amy Hendry, on TikTok. And then you have to have an amazing assistant principal that can hook you up with how to use that TikTok and really make a connection with the kids. But let's rewind for 1 second, Nina. We began the school year by contemplating on how to marry PBIS and the social emotional learning. And I really believe that by choosing kind, and creating kind and doing kind, this is how we've been able to marry all of those positive initiatives. So if I was a building principal and I never did a positive culture change in my building, the first thing I would do is I would bring the kids together. And that's what Stacy Airy did. She brought the kids together. We called it our student advisory group. And we went to, everybody has what we call a building policy department in their student leader, or excuse me, their staff leadership. And then basically Stacy sat with a group of counselors, and I'm going to again pass this on to Stacy because she did such a remarkable job of putting it into print for us. But she met with our leadership, our teacher leaders in our building, and she created a few documents, and then we just published. We hit Facebook, TikTok, our RoboBlast, we got it out there, and then we met with all of the students. So Stacy, how did we get it into print?
Well, the first thing that we did was we met with our PBIS SEL committee, which is a group of teachers, and we really started talking about what's going on with our students. When you talk about social emotional development, you have to talk about the relationships that you're building with the kids, and that's getting to know where they are and where they're at. And their life right now is attached to social media, whether it be Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok. For some of us, it's a challenge to get ourselves, practicing these things and doing these things, especially when as educators, staying off of social media has been something we've been told from the teacher realm, be careful, stay out, don't friend kids, those types of things. But this is really where our kids are at. And so you really have to meet them where they are. So the committee created a list of different types of kindness acts that the students could potentially do. We created a rubric for the videos. So if they created a video, they got points for obviously positivity, and are they involving multiple groups of students? So do we have all allied arts represented? Do we have multiple cultures within our building represented? Is it positive? Do you have the hashtags? You got to create a hashtag. Number one, any social media, you have to create a hashtag, and everybody has to know that hashtag, and everything they do has to have that hashtag in it, because that's how it spreads. So if you've seen any of our videos on Twitter, you'll notice those two hashtags, Do Kind and Carter Creates Kindness. That's how we stay connected. And then you had to create a video as an example. We did a courtyard cleanup here at Carter, we got a group of students who came together. With the pandemic, our courtyards were just completely overgrown. So we got a group of students who volunteered their time, came in and cleaned the courtyards. So we took all of the videos, we put them to a song, and we showed the students how they could create the video. And then, just like Amy said, we put a PowerPoint together. I'm going to share all of that information with you. We have a PowerPoint and a couple of documents with those hashtags on it and the directions on how they could send those videos in. And we just blasted it out every day with them at lunch. And when a video came in, we showed it to the group. They got excited. There's prizes attached, obviously, when they earn those points on the rubric. The teams at the end of the week that have the most points on the rubric, there's one team that wins like the big prize, and it's either lunch with the principal or a gift card. Everybody who participates in any kind of kindness event gets our hashtag Carter Creates Kindness bracelet. And they started seeing it. They started seeing kids eating lunch, hey, where'd that McDonald's come from with the principal? What do you mean they got an Amazon gift card? So it started to spread that way. And I mean, this past week, like I said, this is the third week in, and the videos are they're getting more creative. They're getting more kids involved. They're extending now out into other areas of the building. The video that won this week, we had a group of students hand out thank you cards to the custodian, to the lunchroom workers.
Awesome.
So it's just really started to really grow and grow and grow. And now we have some parent volunteers who've made videos with students. So we couldn't be happier with it catching on. And World Kindness Day is this Saturday, November 13th. So it's nice that it's ramping up and more things are coming about this week in honor of that. So
it really is just amazing. And I like the idea of you having a rubric, and then really encouraging them to involve others. Because I think a lot of us could imagine your student leaders, that group of kids that take the lead on a lot of these projects, that I could quickly envision them just doing this with each other, and then automatically it's not going to grow. It's only within that group of, that group of students, so to speak. So the fact that you're really encouraging all different aspects of your building to be involved, I think is really powerful. And I do want to point out, because people listening are like me initially are probably thinking, man, this must have been so much work to get off the ground and get started, and all the different documents and things you mentioned. Amy and Stacy are going to share a lot of this with us. So when we blast out this podcast, they will share these documents and some of these things. So hopefully it isn't, a huge lift to get this started and the building of those that are listening right now. So I think it's probably pretty easy for me as I transition in my next question here to imagine the positive impact it's had on your building, on your culture, as you mentioned. But could you just kind of talk specifically, what have you seen within your student body, the staff, maybe what are parents saying about it? As you mentioned, parents are starting to get involved. And then also just even within the community and businesses and whatnot, maybe if other community organizations are starting to hear about this.
I think the one thing that I've noticed the most so far amongst in the building is just we seem to be getting a lot more connected. And, it starts with something as simple as a TikTok video, but, more students know us. Miss Hendry's got a TikTok, Miss Harry's got a TikTok, it's made students who are really shy and quiet and hide behind social media, it's gotten them kind of out in the open as well. So I noticed that we're a lot more connected and we're a lot more aware of each other, which I think has really been significant for me since the program started. We are extending it into the community. We are doing a food drive. Our Kindness Act for the community is to do a food drive for the local church here in the area. And so when I told her about our kindness initiative, she was just thrilled and wanted to put a couple of our flyers up at the church, Carter Creates Kindness. So we're starting to spread this now from the building into the community and spreading that out. Students are also including like their family members in their videos. So it's extending to parents, brothers and sisters, kids in the neighborhood, cousins and things like that. So it's nice to see them getting their families involved in it as well.
You know, I think one thing that Stacy didn't point out is this is a huge opportunity for us as educators to make connections with parents, to get them to get on their student TikTok account so they can see what's going on. And ultimately, there's always a motive behind every administrator as far as the moves are concerned. And we need our parents to get on those TikTok accounts and see what's going on. Because if you're an administrator in the United States or anywhere in the world, you know that most of our time is unfortunately seen by negative destructive acts. So, you know, it's allowed us to communicate and educate our families. You know, we give kids these $1,100 pieces of equipment and then we don't educate them properly. So there's always that secondary motive. But, you know, if I had to just give you one word, how this has affected me is I just see the kids smiling. You know, they're like, Miss Hendry, what are you going to do the video with me? Are we going to dance? And I'm like, hey, whoever asked first, you got Miss Hendry dancing. So it really has changed just the kids in the hallway and the way that they're approaching the adults. They're approaching the adults by smiling. And, you know, coming back from the pandemic, all we see is hoods and masks and eyeballs, you know, so it's really getting the kids to open up a little bit. And that was really our initiative from the get-go.
Can I add one thing really quickly? You know, there are a lot of students who are not on social media too. So the other thing that's happened is we did create a hashtag Do Kind bulletin board in our cafeteria. And so students who do something kind or witness something kind are also posting things on Post-it notes. So if they can't make a video, it's not a big deal. They're still participating. The kindness board is filled. Now I noticed a couple of students made some little posters with hashtag Carter. Can I hang this up in the building? So it's not even, you know, so much about the videos anymore as it is, I want to make a poster. I want to participate. I want to put my Post-it on the bulletin board. So everybody has an opportunity to participate at their comfort level. If they don't have social media, they're just emailing us videos that they're making together as well. So it is making sure that you're accepting all forms of the kindness as well and involving everyone in their ability level.
Okay, so Stacy and Amy, I'm a middle school principal myself, so we know the uniqueness of middle school and the beast that we're dealing with. My question to you is, do you see this as being able to be adapted for elementary and especially some of our high school peers and our MASSP members?
My first reaction is that anything can be adjusted, right? I mean, if you look at it from a perspective of elementary, you could have the teachers be the one that have the accounts and initiate challenges, positive challenges between the teachers, right? You had second grade levels challenge second grade levels, upper elementary challenge lower elementary. High school is a whole different animal, obviously, just because of the age group of the students. And I think it's key here, and Stacy has taught me to do this, you have to monitor your hashtags, right? So there's no inappropriate behavior going on, and that's a huge commitment. So I think at the high school, you could use this with your leadership students. Obviously, there are many, many different schools that are on Twitter and TikTok that are presenting positive activities and ways of communicating, a lot of colleges. So the rubric is key, Ryan, like you said earlier, and that monitoring of the TikTok and keeping the adults involved. You know, you always want to have that teacher or that educator with the students just to make sure there's no mishaps. But yes, definitely adaptable K through 12.
Awesome. That's super helpful. So I know you ladies are busy. We want to get you back into your buildings and get you back to doing some of the dances on the TikTok videos here. Do you mind just giving a quick rundown of the hashtags and maybe what handles you're using? So if people want to see this in action on TikTok or Twitter or whatever it is, do you mind sharing that real quick?
Stacy, go ahead
Yep,
and share our hashtags. Yep.
Okay, so you can put the hashtag into any social media outlet, but our first hashtag is hashtag Do Kind. And then specifically to Carter, hashtag Carter Creates Kindness. And you can see the videos that the kids have posted, putting those hashtags into TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, as well as if you make your own, you could tag too and join the group. So
Ryan, Mrs. Airy and I are both on Twitter as well. I am at Amy LH14. Hendry is my last name. So it's at Amy LH14 Hendry. And my email, if you want to contact me for any information, is my last name, HENDRY, the letter A, at WCSkids.net.
Perfect. All right. Well, Again, I really appreciate your time, and thank you to Nina for joining me. And you'll be hearing from Nina as we record more podcasts down the road. That's going to do it for this episode of the MASSP podcast. Remember, you can listen to this podcast and more on the Apple Podcast Store or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also head over to massp.com/podcast. Thanks for listening, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.